Back in my day, Adventure Time was pure comfort. Backpack hits the floor, cereal bowl in my lap, just vibing with Finn and Jake. But this year changed how I see everything. After watching the Midnight Gospel, I learned it came from the same mind as Adventure Time. So the other night, exhausted at 3 a.m., I put on Adventure Time just to relax. This time, I saw it. The spiritual stuff that was in the Midnight Gospel, it was already in Adventure Time, just disguised. I went back and picked 3 episodes from the later seasons, each one with something profound hidden inside. A compassionate take on mental health, a metaphor for artistic freedom, even a guide to ego death. I know it sounds crazy, but stick with me, because once you see what's in these episodes, you'll understand why Adventure Time hits different as an adult. Season 8, Episode 1, Broke His Crown. On the surface, it's another quirky Ice King adventure, but look closer. It's a meditation on mental health, compassion, and technology-assisted healing. The premise is Marceline and Princess Bubblegum literally go inside Ice King's mind. Via a VR-like interface, the crown that makes him Ice King has broken, causing Simon, his true self, to flicker through fractured memories and personalities. The key metaphor is the crown as a mindscape. When PB and Marceline strap into the VR-like crown interface, they aren't just poking at tech. They're using it as a literal tool to enter Simon's inner world. It's their portal into his subconscious, a way to explore the fractured pieces of his identity. Inside, they encounter one of the greatest and strangest characters ever, a turtle-like version of Gunther. But instead of fighting or lecturing, this Gunther plays music. The rhythms and tones become like a compass, drawing them further into Simon's mind. It's a reminder of how sound and frequency can guide meditation, alter states of consciousness, and help people access buried emotions. That connection isn't accidental. Pendleton Ward doesn't just like VR, he loves it. Around this same period, he was openly geeking out about its future potential, even collaborating on early prototypes for VR games. You can hear it in his November 2016 appearance on Duncan Trussell's podcast, where he describes one of his favorite VR experiments, a game that reacts to your voice. When you hum, the visuals morph, pulling you into dreamlike worlds.
To contact an entity through sound, we can use a series of intentional sounds to draw into our subjective experience.
For Ward, sound itself was a vehicle inward, a way to travel subconsciously and come out calmer, more connected. Now, here's the kicker. Broke His Crown aired in March of that same year. So while Adventure Time doesn't explicitly reference that VR project, the parallels are undeniable. Marceline and PB log into the crown like it's a headset, and inside, music and sound literally guide Simon's subconscious deeper. It's Ward's personal fascinations woven directly into his art, hidden in plain sight but vibrating with the same frequency. It's also a lesson in storytelling. When you create from authentic fascinations, even something as niche as VR soundscapes, it sneaks into your art in ways that hit deeper than the audience can explain. Viewers might just think, that was a cool turtle playing music, but subconsciously they feel the weight of sound as a spiritual guide. Simon isn't crazy. He's hurt. As they explore, we realize Simon, Ice King, is not broken, he's fragmented. Different rooms hold different aspects of him. The goofy Ice King persona, the remnants of the gentle Simon, even bits of the penguin Gunter's consciousness. Yeah, long story. So, here's my spiritual take. In many healing traditions, mental illness isn't viewed as someone being broken or other. It's seen as a person who's suffering, often split between parts of themselves. Adventure Time portrays this compassionately. Simon's mind isn't a lost cause. It's a place of wounded beauty that his friends can explore and help heal. And here's where it gets even deeper, because Adventure Time's creator, Pendleton Ward, wasn't pulling this out of thin air, as usual, like how we've seen already with the VR headset. You see, earlier I mentioned Duncan Trussell's podcast. Pendleton Ward, again, Adventure Time's creator, if you haven't figured that out by now, is a huge fan of Duncan Trussell's podcast. The two eventually teamed up to make the Midnight Gospel, which is basically Adventure Time's psychedelic cousin, but you can already feel those seeds being planted in Adventure Time itself, especially with Ice King. Think about it. Ice King's public meltdowns in front of Princess Bubblegum, they're treated as crazy or abnormal by society. But what if Ward was asking a deeper question? Duncan Trussell once floated the idea that maybe people we label as schizophrenic aren't broken. Maybe they're just tuned into a different frequency of reality. It's a provocative thought. What if they're actually perceiving something real, but we shun them because we don't fit into what we call normal life? Now, Adventure Time doesn't tell us to take that literally, but it does what great art does. It humanizes the outcast. Ice King isn't just a silly villain, he's Simon, a man whose suffering is real, whose trauma created walls between him and others. Even Marceline, his closest person, doesn't always see it. Even in the episode, you can see Marceline and Princess Bubblegum are trying to use nets to capture Betty, but really the only person who can heal the trauma at the end of the day is Simon himself by confronting her himself and talking to her and crying with her. That's not just an Ice King story. That's a metaphor for mental health, psychedelics, and even therapy. Sometimes the demons in our head aren't real in the physical sense, but they're real enough to wound us, and they require real compassion to heal. Remember Simon's words to the figment of Betty inside the crown? I don't care what you are, you're real to me. It's such a human line. It's about owning your inner scars, even when they can't be explained logically. Adventure Time is playful on the outside, but beneath the candy colors, it's whispering, what if healing isn't about fixing the broken? What if it's about holding space for the parts of ourselves society doesn't understand? Broke His Crown reminds us that behind labels like crazy or weird are real people who deserve healing. It shows a future where tech and empathy together might help us mend minds, not by ostracizing people, but by literally walking a mile in their mental shoes. It's a touching metaphor. Sometimes to help a friend, you might have to enter their world. And when you do, you realize they were never as lost as everyone thought. They just needed someone to listen inside the silence. Next, Season 7, Episode 26, The Thin Yellow Line. This one blew my mind because it's basically an animated allegory about oppression, art, and awakening. Who knew Banana Guards could be so deep? The setup is Finn and Jake stumble on a Candy Kingdom conspiracy. Someone's been painting beautiful murals all over the kingdom's hidden tunnels, which is illegal under Princess Bubblegum's strict rules. Finn turns into a makeshift cop to track down this criminal artist. The criminals in the shadows. What they find in the shadows isn't some evildoer. It's a group of Banana Guards hiding underground, making art and music in secret. They're the creative ones, the free thinkers of society, and PB literally outlawed their self-expression. They have to hide their paintings, poems, and instruments because the rules say Banana Guards must be mindlessly obedient. Creative expression is a crime for them. Think about that. In the Candy Kingdom, coloring outside the lines, literally, can get you thrown in jail. They even hide their art supplies from Finn at first because to them, he's the law coming to punish them. This hits hard. They're not hiding weapons or something, they're hiding paintbrushes and flutes. And this is where Adventure Time holds up a mirror, because in real life, the same thing happened. Not with murals, but with minds. The war on drugs was never truly about safety. Psychedelics weren't outlawed because they were destroying society. They were outlawed because they encouraged people to think outside the lines, to question authority, to expand consciousness, and that terrified those in power. In America, you can't outlaw free thought. You can't ban speech directly, but you can outlaw what fuels it, and that's exactly what happened. The free thinkers, the healers, the artists, suddenly they weren't citizens anymore. They were criminals, just for accessing altered states of consciousness. Adventure Time shows us the same truth with candy people and paintbrushes. Oppressive systems don't fear violence, they fear art. They fear imagination. They fear what they can't control. But here's the plot twist. Just like the Banana Guards couldn't stop making art, real-world research is reclaiming psychedelics. Today, psilocybin isn't just a crime, it's a potential cure. Johns Hopkins, MAPS, and other institutions are proving what once was suppressed, that these substances in safe and guided contexts can heal trauma, treat depression, and even reconnect people with joy and meaning. Adventure Time isn't telling us to chase enlightenment recklessly, it's reminding us to protect curiosity, creativity, and playfulness. To approach inner worlds not with fear, but with courage. Because the ones who blindly obey think they're free, they've just never seen the cage. The Banana Guards who aren't in hiding, the ones up top or in regular society, are the goofy, loyal soldiers who never question orders. They honestly believe they're free because they're following the rules to a T or just don't understand it better. And this is a classic illusion of freedom. As long as they never think for themselves, they get rewarded and think they're living their best life. It's comfortable, but it's an empty comfort, like a gilded cage. And just like those Banana Guards, the real-world artists, thinkers, and healers who used psychedelics had to go underground. They weren't criminals, but society treated them like criminals anyway, until now. And even then, the real criminals in society turned out to be the ones sent by Princess Bubblegum themselves. They were the one causing issues with the Banana Guards and trying to start crimes to quote-unquote catch crime. And then when the Banana Guards finally catch Finn and Jake and send them into jail, Princess Bubblegum, being the authority figure, gives them amnesty and basically releases them back into society because those in power can break the rules, but the real society can't. And the cycle repeats itself. Authority as a false god. Now, here's where things get spiritually trippy. Princess Bubblegum, to Finn and Jake, is just their smart leader friend. But to the Banana Guards, PB is literally their god. She created them. There's a scene where Finn finds a shrine of Princess Bubblegum in the Banana Guards' prison. They're worshipping her like she's a deity. This is a multiverse of perception. In the same kingdom, two realities exist. For Finn, PB is a person with flaws. For Banana Guards, she's infallible and all-powerful. Both are true in their own context. It's a crazy example of how perspective shapes reality. So when Finn tells the hiding Banana Guards, hey, your goddess would actually love this art, they're shocked. They can't fathom it. Their god queen liking rebellious art? It's like telling someone indoctrinated that the thing they fear most is actually okay. Mind-blowing. The turning point. Courage to stand up. Finn and Jake eventually bring Princess Bubblegum to see the secret art. Risky move. And the Banana Guards are terrified. Their creator is here to judge them. This is the moment of truth. Banana Guard 16, the ringleader artist, steps forward trembling but determined. He basically says, yeah, I painted. I know it's against the rules, but it's good art and it made us happy. We aren't hurting anyone. And I'm here to pay for my crimes. So, one voice in truth. All of his fellow hidden artists step forward too then, standing beside him. It's a full-on stand for freedom. The revelation, compassionate leadership. And PB's reaction? Not punishment, she listens. In a soft moment, Princess Bubblegum admits she's not a god at all. I'm just a person like you. Then she does something unexpected. She changes the rules. She pardons them, essentially saying, go ahead, be creative, be free. It's a beautiful turnaround. The oppressive authority figure wakes up too, realizing she was wrong to force uniformity. This is Pendleton Ward and the show's ideal vision of society. A leader humble enough to grow and people brave enough to think and speak truth to power together. The spiritual angle is it's almost biblical. The moment when a deity figure steps down from the pedestal and acknowledges the divinity and autonomy of the people. It resonates with the idea that we're all sparks of the same creative source. No one inherently higher than the other. Why this hits home. This episode is a rallying cry. Art is not a crime, and questioning authority is not treason when authority is unjust. It shows how easily a government, or any system, can label innocent, beautiful things as dangerous simply because they can't control them. Sound familiar in the real world? Censorship, anyone? And it carries a hopeful message. Real change happens when ordinary people unite and stand up, and when leaders choose humility over ego. The thin yellow line isn't about banana people in a candy kingdom. It's about us. It's a reminder that if you feel like an outsider for creating something different or questioning the status quo, you're probably doing something right. In true leadership, it's not about enforcing conformity. It's about learning from the people you lead and letting them be free. This candy-coated cartoon, Revolution, gives me hope that even amid the most rigid systems, we can have change, if we have the courage to speak up and a little compassion at the top. Finally, Season 7, Episode 25, Flute Spell. On the face of it, it's a cute Finn love story, but trust me, it's actually a guide to ego death and spiritual awakening wrapped in animation. The setup is Jake can't find Finn one night. Turns out Finn's been sneaking off for secret jam sessions with Huntress Wizard in the forest. Jake assumes Finn's trying to get a new girlfriend. A very surface level take, classic Jake, but something way deeper is happening. Retreat into nature. Finn has essentially gone on a spiritual retreat with Huntress Wizard. They're in the woods, away from the Candy Kingdom noise, playing music under the stars. This setting alone screams Vision Quest. Many spiritual traditions send you into nature to find insight. Huntress Wizard isn't just a cool forest lady. She symbolizes a shamanic guide. Here's a wild detail. When she sleeps, mushrooms grow on her body. Mushrooms grow on decay, on death. So when Huntress Wizard sleeps, it's like she dies and is reborn, shedding her ego nightly and communing with nature. That's as mystical as it gets. It's like she's on a constant cycle of ego death and renewal, which in many cultures is the mark of a true spiritual adept. The magical drink. Enter the altered state. Before the most important part of their journey, Huntress Wizard gives Finn a special drink, an herbal glowing elixir. Finn drinks it, and reality immediately twists. We see the animation style shift. Finn starts hallucinating. Huntress Wizard and Jake's form turn into birds and vapor. The forest around him melts into fractals and flowing symbols. This is a textbook representation of a plant medicine journey. Think of indigenous ceremonies with psychedelic brews like ayahuasca or a potent mushroom tea. The drink is the catalyst that opens Finn's perception to a deeper layer of reality, time dilation. But for Finn and us viewers, that inner journey was obviously much longer. A classic psychedelic time warp. Minutes on the outside can feel like hours or a lifetime in a vision state. And I'm talking symbolism here, not telling anyone to drink strange forest punch. Always approach these topics with respect and legality in mind. But anyways, ego death, the sword in the heart. During this trance, Finn finds himself in a dreamlike ritual. He plunges a sword straight into his own chest. Crazy, right? But he isn't dying. Well, not physically. This is the death of the ego in given form. In many spiritual traditions and deep meditations, people speak of piercing the heart or dying before you die, destroying the illusioned self to awaken a greater self. Finn's vision shows him literally killing the small, fearful part of him. And when he does, he gains a new superpower. In the episode, immunity to electricity, and summons the spirit of the forest. Symbolically, by sacrificing his ego, he becomes one with the larger consciousness of nature. He opens the door to the mansion moment, expanding consciousness. You can think of your normal awareness like living in a single cozy room your whole life. It's home, but it's limited. A true ego death or deep psychedelic experience is like discovering a hidden door in that room, opening it, and realizing you've been living in a massive mansion all along. There are countless rooms, each with its own colors, memories, and magic. When Finn drinks that potion and faces the trial in his mind, he's basically stepping through that door. For a brief time, he experiences the mansion of his consciousness, the interconnectedness with nature, the archetypal symbols, like the forest spirit, and parts of himself he wasn't aware of. It's beautiful and overwhelming. In the show, it's portrayed with gorgeous, surreal imagery. For people in real life who have had similar deep meditation or plant medicine experiences, it's often life-changing. You come back seeing the world differently. Return and letting go. Finn comes out of the vision with the insight needed to help Huntress Wizard complete her mission, to reconnect with the forest spirit. They succeed together by playing a harmonious duet on their flutes, a sweet metaphor for co-creating with the universe once you're aligned. Afterwards, there's a tender moment. Finn, feeling so connected to HW from this profound experience, kind of wonders if there's a romantic spark now. But Huntress Wizard gently shuts that down. She doesn't do romance. Her path is a solitary one. For now, here's the kicker. Finn accepts it with respect. Integration. After an ego-dissolving experience, one of the hardest but most important lessons is letting go of attachment. Finn doesn't try to cling or force a relationship. The old Finn might have been upset or awkward, but the new Finn just smiles and appreciates her for exactly who she is. That's growth. He went into this journey seeking understanding, maybe even hoping to impress a girl, but he came out of it with something better: wisdom and peace. Flute Spell is a love story, but not the kind we expect. It's about falling in love with truth. Finn has a brush with the divine, a little ego death, and it changes him. This episode shows in 11 minutes what some people spend years seeking: that feeling of being one with everything, seeing beyond the veil and coming back with a calmer heart. And it does it without ever preaching or breaking the fairy tale vibe. That's the magic of Adventure Time, the deepest truths in the strangest packages. Who knew, right? This silly cartoon about a boy and his magic dog is out here tackling mental health, societal freedom, and the nature of reality. Adventure Time has this way of handing you wisdom when you least expect it. Today we saw a lesson in compassionate healing from a broken crown, a mini revolution led by banana people teaching us about art and oppression, and a mystical journey through ego death via a flute and a forest spirit. Each of these stories says, don't be fooled by appearances. The crazy person might be a deeply wise soul who needs love. The bad guys creating forbidden art might be the ones who are truly awake. The crush in the woods might actually be a guru showing you your true self. At the surface, Adventure Time is still a cozy, empathetic cartoon, and that's enough. But when you look a layer deeper, it quietly trains how we see the world. The crazy becomes wounded but wise. The criminal becomes artist under pressure. The crush becomes a guide back to yourself. That shift from silly cartoon to spiritual oracle doesn't make life heavier. It makes us more open, more curious, more kind. If a kids show can do that, imagine what we can do for each other. If you enjoyed this deeper look, hit that subscribe button. We're just scratching the surface of what shows like Adventure Time, The Midnight Gospel, and others are teaching us, and I'd love to hear from you too. Comment below if you've ever had a mansion door moment, and check out this other video where you can see me training to play like Kobe Bryant for a long time to see if I can beat my longtime rival. It's a more lighthearted challenge on the surface, but anyways, until next time, stay curious, stay open, and remember, the deepest magic is usually hiding in the weirdest places. Peace!